The smoking and shattered remains of what was once Cerberus Station on Aria filled the view screen of Fletcher's shuttle. He had been off-world when word of this disaster had reached him. His wife and children had been there at the station. Fletcher checked and rechecked the roster of people that had been evacuated. They were not on any of the lists. He maneuvered his shuttle to a landing near the craters and walked out of the vehicle. The company had already started cleanup activity, and he steeled himself as he walked over to where an operations habitat had been set up. There was an android working there, providing information to those seeking it. He gave his information and awaited the expected response. His wife and 2 children's partial remains had been recovered and processed. He walked dejectedly back to his shuttle. Everything he owned, no, everything in his life now existed only on that shuttle. His family, gone forever. And only one name burned in his mind now. One person who was responsible for this. Devin Valentine. I hope you enjoyed the latest entry in the Distress Signals flash fiction. The prompts for today were disturbing remains or evidence of death and depart family. Now, on with the session. Hello, DV here, your humble GM and adventurer. Today we're going to be following the story of Devin Valentine in our Mothership solo play. Last episode we went on a little mission at Pavel Theta in return for a free trip to the Hope system. We did the job successfully, though we suffered some casualties in our party, not necessarily with Devin and Cade, but some of the other people that came with us to help with that mission. We lost a man down. And then we met an interesting character, Rowena, who may make an appearance later on as well. Now we are in the orbit of Hope 5 here in the Hope system, and that's this planet here, number 9. And we are going to be trying to find the research facility here on Hope 5 and hopefully get some medical attention for Devin as well. There's several things Devin needs doing. He needs to get the synthetic hand attached, well, just the fingers attached to his 2 severed fingers on his left hand. And then he also needs to get his treatment for his cowardice and doomed conditions, which is going to be a lot of money. And so I think after looking it up, it's going to be like a couple $100,000 credits to get treatment for all of these different things. And so we're probably going to have to go into debt in order to get those treatments, which means we'll probably have to do some jobs to pay off that debt here in the Hope system somewhere. Hope 5 is a temperate planet. So if we go over to the Starforged Oracles, that's what I've been using for our playthrough here. If we take a look at that for the vital planet, or vital world here, it's a diverse, life-bearing planet, might provide some small measure of hope. That is what we know. So all we know right now is that it is a temperate planet that sustains life of some sort. And we know it has a breathable atmosphere because it is a temperate planet, which means it has, well, not necessarily. You could have a planet that is temperate but has an atmosphere that is not breathable. So let's just go ahead and roll and see, does it have a breathable atmosphere? Does it have a breathable atmosphere? 29, so breathable, yes. So it does have a breathable atmosphere. That means we can move about on the planet without any protective breathing apparatus at all, which will be great. So what kind of settlements are we talking about here on Hope 5? Is there more than one settlement? Are they in conflict with one another? Is there an orbital settlement over Hope 5? We don't know. Let's go ahead and roll, and we will call this the Outlands because Hope system, according to the Hull Breach material, it's a little bit beyond the most settled systems. And so we're going to go ahead and assume that it is in the Outlands. It's not out in the Expanse, which would be even more in the void there. But we're going to say the Outlands. So we're going to roll and see what kind of settlements are we talking about here. If we get a 1 through 50 and get a none, we'll assume that there's only one planet-side settlement because we know there's one at least. So let's just roll and see. Of course, we got an 18. All right, so let's roll again. Okay, so all right, we'll say there's one settlement on this planet because we did get doubles. That usually means something hell yes happened. So while there is a very nice planet, this is out in the boo of space, so to speak. It's out, in the wilds. Not very settled sector. And so we're going to say there's only one settlement right now on the planet of Hope 5. Okay. And what can we see about the planet from space? 60. Numerous small moons. Okay. How many small moons do you think? Numerous small moons. Okay. How many small moons? Let's roll 4. 3 small moons. Okay. Interesting. And for these 3 small moons, are they settled? So I'm going to say 50-50 chance for all 3. Well, I'm going to say likely for all 3, and then we'll roll for each individual one. So likely will be anything under 70, or anything over 25 means that there are settlements on one or more of the moons. So that's an 88. That's a great. So yes, there are settlements on the moons. What are the names of these moons? Let's find some planetary names for these 3 moons, and then we'll find out which ones have a settlement. I'm going to say with this 88, that's a hell yes. So that means at least 2 of these will have a settlement of some sort. All right, so first of all, what kind of planets are these moons? Let's take a look and roll for the different types of planets that we might have for the moons. Okay, so first will be the planetary class. Let's roll for the first moon. It is 69 Jungle World. Interesting, a little jungle planet. Okay, so it probably has some sort of atmosphere of some sort. Okay, so for the jungle planet, does it have an atmosphere? 20. Toxic. Okay, interesting. And does it have life on it? 27. Diverse life. Of course, it's a jungle planet. You would think it might have diverse life. Toxic to humans, though. Okay. And does it have settlements on this one? I'm going to say this one probably does. So I'm going to say, does this one have, I'm going to give it a likely. So 25 or greater. This one does not have a settlement. Okay. Interesting. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say this one has a new settlement. It's just a brand new settlement. Because we know 2 of them do. In a jungle one that's toxic, it makes sense that it's a new settlement. Okay, for the next one, let's roll for the next one. 82. A rocky world. Rocky. Makes sense for a moon. Let's take a look. Does this rocky world have an atmosphere? No. Okay. Is there life? 76. Extinct life. Ooh. Okay, interesting. I love rolling on these oracles. Are there any oracles? Are there any settlements on this one? 43. None. Okay. All right, and then finally, 27. A furnace world. Ooh. Furnace world. What is a furnace world? Volcanic ruptures dot the surface of this planet, allowing lava, ash, and gas to escape from magma chambers deep within the core. The sheer volume of fiery lava casts an eerie red glow onto anything in orbit. Steam swirls through the atmosphere, creating massive weather systems. Ooh, so I'm going to say this one is also populated with some sort of people. But first, does it have an atmosphere? 84, marginal. Okay. Is there life on this planet? 95. Ooh, diverse life. Whoa. Did not expect that. Okay. And settlements. 06. So that means there's none. But instead of none, I'm gonna bump it up to an orbital settlement. Maybe there is a research station or an energy gathering station in orbit of this planet. Maybe they're using some method of drawing energy from this furnace world to power the Hope 5 settlement, or maybe to power other stations. Who knows? But that's cool. All right, so we do have our 3 moons. We don't have names for these moons yet. Let's go ahead and grab some names right quick. All right, the furnace world name is 84. Scorch. Okay. An appropriate name. Rocky. Rocky's name is Quietus. Ooh, that's a cool name. And then finally, our jungle world, 43. First. Okay, cool. All right, so we have our Hope 5 with 1 settlement. We know that Hope 5 has numerous small moons, and that those 3 moons, 2 of them have settlements, and one of them is a settlement on the planet's or on the moon's surface. Awesome. All right, so Devin and Cade are aboard our dropship, and we are leaving the station that we are in orbit of Hope 5 currently. All right, so back to the vital world of Hope 5. Does it have life? 73. It's overrun with life. Oh. Okay, fantastic. And we know it has only one settlement on it, strangely enough. How many biomes does this planet have? 70. 3 different biomes. Okay. 3 different biomes. So what's the first biome type? 29. An island. Okay. So we know there's at least an ocean of some sort that has an island in it. 95, which is waterways. Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot of water on this planet. And then the last one is 68, shrubland. Okay. All right, so of those 3, where would the Hope 5 settlement be at? The island, the waterways, or the shrubland? What we're going to do is we're going to roll our D4, And island is 1, waterways is 2, shrubland is 3, 4 is roll again. 2, it's in the waterways. Okay. So the Hope 5 settlement is in the waterways. What is the name of the settlement? Let's take a look. We know it's part of the University of Adalia Minor. So they are the ones that have settled this system. That's a university corporation. And they are all about exploration, planetology, xenobiology research, which makes sense why they have settled in this system because of everything that's going on here on this planet. Their initiative is to discover alien species with military application. Their problem is that they are chafing under Publico audits after a series of failures. We know that they are the ones that initiated Project Hellmouth, and then Hasmos got involved with that project, only incidentally. And then a secret of Adalia Minor that might come into play sometime is that the employees are riddled with dangerous xenoparasites. We've already seen on Pavel Theta, when we did that mission there are plants there that their spores basically raise the dead. And so maybe some of the employees are carrying those spores around with them as well. So we may see some undead action otherwise here in this system, other than just on Pavel Theta. That might be an interesting thing. Okay, so back to the Waterways settlement. What is the name of this settlement? Or how big is the settlement first? We know the location already. What's the population of this settlement? 06. Oh, only a few. Okay, so it's a relatively small settlement. Maybe just the university itself, perhaps, has a little research facility here on Hope 5. Okay, interesting. And what do we know about this settlement? First, let's roll. Which table are we going to roll on? Number 2, okay. 44. There's intimidating defenses. Okay. I'm going to say that probably the university has lots of anti-aircraft type weaponry and anti-orbital weapons here on the planet to protect their research. So they are doing all this secretive stuff, and they don't want anybody prying into their business. So I'm going to assume that the initial contact might not be too friendly, but let's see what it says. Okay, they are welcoming. All right. So as long as you don't mess with them, it's fine. They won't use their weapons against you. The authority here is ineffectual. Okay. So what does that tell me? Since there's so few university people here on the settlement itself, it's pretty much self-regulated. Like these scientists that are here, they're just doing their own thing, right? There's not enough people here to have a lot of crime or a lot of, problems that normally come with large groups of people gathered in one place. And so the scientists here in the settlement are pretty self-governing. Okay, and what do we know about the first look? Oh, that's already the first look. Okay. What are they doing here in this projects? Once again, we're going to roll there, number 3. So we're going to roll a 37. What are they doing here? Planetary mapping. Okay. So they are doing planetary mapping here. Since it's a relatively new settlement here, that makes sense that they're still mapping out the rest of the planet. Okay. And do they have any trouble here on this planet? Number 5 chart, 35. Defying of physics. No, I think I'm so close to having prolific life forms. I'm going to go with that instead. So the trouble is that there's so many life forms. There's some troublesome ones here that might need some assistance with. Prolific life forms. Okay. And then finally, the settlement name. What are we going to grab from the number 6 chart? We have number 38. That is Helios. Okay. All right. So Helios on Hope 5 has intimidating defenses. The scientists here are welcoming, but their governance is largely ineffectual. That means the university doesn't really pry into their business. They are doing a project regarding planetary mapping here because the settlement is still relatively new. And there is trouble with prolific life forms here. All right, fantastic. So what we're going to do is we are going to fly our dropship down and land on a landing pad here at the Helios settlement here. And I'm not going to roll for that. We're just going to do it. We're just going to land, and we're going to see what we find as far as this university. I'm going to assume it's not super big. So let's roll a 1d6, and that will tell us how many zones are in this small settlement. So there's only a few people here, so maybe just a 1d4 for the size of this settlement. We'll say how many zones are in this settlement. Just one. Okay. So it's basically right now a landing pad and some like habitation modules setting up to get ready to do the research. So that means, where is this medical facility that Dr. Addis was talking about? He said there was medical facilities here in the Hope system. It's not on Hope 5. We know that. And likely not on the planets either. So where is it? Well, we'll have to find out. So what we're going to do is we're going to land on the landing pad here. And it's going to be a research zone here on this one area. And so what kind of research are they doing? They are doing planetary mapping. So it's a university, we'll say it's a university system, because we know that already. And we land in this research area here. And what do we see as part of this zone, this district here? Secretive laboratory, specialized equipment, storage area. I think since this is a brand new settlement, so we land on the landing pad, and there are crates of equipment kind of scattered around the landing pad, and then there are several small habs that are set up that are those little prefabricated habitation modules that are kind of like pop-up live-in places that the scientists are using here. And there's only a few people here, so probably less than a dozen. And so they are working diligently to try to map out this planet and the moons with their equipment in preparation for expanding the settlement here. And so when we land on the landing pad and exit the ship, Devin sees one of the scientists. He comes kind of jauntily walking up. Well, let's see, is he jaunty or not? Let's take a look and see what his disposition is. Number 5, first look, 44. He's a husky boy. Oh, husky. He's husky. His disposition, we'll just use the same roll. Number 5, he's kind of stubborn. All right. He's a stubborn husky. And judge. Oh, interesting. A stubborn husky judge. A judge of what? Don't know. And what is his goal? His goal is to gain power and influence. Okay. So, we'll say he's a former judge, and he came here to Helios as part of this expedition for setting up the settlement. He's kind of like the leader of this settlement. He's the one that is in control of this whole expedition. He's more of the civilian, quote unquote, government, even though it's largely ineffectual. We know he's part of that. He's basically running the show for these scientists, doing all the administrative work. And what is this guy's name? He is honest as well. Okay, he's stubborn and but honest. That's not bad traits. And his name is Zilla Shin. Zilla Shin. All right. So Azella Shin, is Azella Shin male or female? All right. So we'll just roll a good old D100 here. If it's we'll just do 33, 33, 33. If it's 100, then it's we'll just roll again. So 33, first 33 is female, second 33 is non-binary, last 33 is male. So that is a male. Okay. So Zilla walks up as Devin and Cade exit their dropship. He's a little bit stubborn yet honest, and he's like, "How can I help you fellas?" Devin is kind of looking around at the sparseness of the settlement here, and he kind of scratches his head a little bit. He said, "Well, we were told by an associate that we could find some medical facilities and research facilities here in the Hope system. And so we came here to Hope 5 thinking it was here, but obviously not." And he kind of gives a little bit of a laugh. The Zella, he also kind of looks around kind of jokingly. He's like, "Not seeing any medical facilities here." Does he tell us where to find some medical facilities? I'm going to say it's likely, but let's double check here. No, he doesn't. All right, interesting. So I had to get below a 75 in order for him to, or above. Well, I guess it should be above 25, right? You could do it either way. I didn't specify, but earlier I rolled above 25, so we'll do that again. So he does tell us, he's like, actually, the medical facilities are in the orbital settlement over Scorch. They use the energy from that planet to power their station and then also power their research there. So if you're looking for the medical facilities, that's probably a good place to start, as they're on Scorch. Devin's like, "Oh, okay. Well, sorry to bother you. I hope you have a good time, and we'll talk to you later." And it's all like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. You sure there's nothing I can do to help you further? I mean, you came all the way down here. There's no use in just running off so quick." And Devin kind of looks at Cade like, "What's this guy? What's this guy up to?" He's like, "Well, I mean, it looks like there's not much going on here, really, for us to do. So we're just gonna head on up and pursue the research." And Zella kind of like rubs his hands together and he says, "Well, we could use a little bit of help. See, we're just getting this settlement started and we're doing some planetary mapping. A couple of the colonists are out in our dropship now, but we're in need for some supplies from Scorch. And so if you would do me a favor and go to Scorch and talk to what? Talk to who? 557. 557. Kayet Lowry. Talk to Kayet Lowry and ask them to load the supplies onto your dropship, bring it back here, and we'll put in a good word for you to the research folks there on Scorch, and that'll facilitate your travel a little bit and help you. You won't have to struggle as much to find the right person. We'll get you hooked up. Kind of a tit for tat kind of thing. Okay, so that sounds like a good deal. We'll make that delivery for you. We'll fly over to Scorch, pick up the supplies, and bring them back here. And then when we go back to Scorch, you'll help us with a contact there. Oh yeah. We'll get you all set up. No problem. We're just a little bit short-handed. We need a little bit of extra help, and so it'd be really nice if you could do that for us. So I think Devin and Kate are willing to do that. It's good to make friends and get connections any way that you can. And so they are happy to load back up into the dropship and fly up into the orbit of Hope 5 and travel to the moon of Scorch. Now, does anything happen in transit? So we're doing some orbital travel here. Let's roll a D5, which is a 1. They have a malfunction. Oh, okay. A malfunction. And what kind of malfunction do they have? Let's roll a D10 again. 6. Comms error. Unprompted distress signal. The crew's nemesis knows their exact position. What? No! Con! Why? So they are flying from Hope 5 to the Scorch moon, and all of a sudden the bookworm AI comes up over the intercom and says,
"You're welcome, Captain."
And Devin says, What? I'm welcome for what? And then Bookworm says,
"I have successfully transmitted your position to Hasmos Corporation."
What? Devin says, What? Why would you do that? What have you done? We're on the run. We're trying to hide. She says,
"I'm sorry, Captain. I noticed that the Hasmos transponder has been offline for some time, and I took it upon myself to repair the module. It is now transmitting successfully."
And so Bookworm, unknowingly to us, has been running diagnostics on the ship this whole time. And she saw that this transmitter had been turned off with her installation. This transponder had been turned off by Black Sky. Was that guy's name Black Sky? I think so. Whenever he hacked the system, and apparently he didn't do that great of a job, because she was able just to simply turn it back on. And so now the bounty hunters know exactly where we are. Of course, we're a few systems away, but at some point we can expect they will be making a reappearance for the 3rd time. Oh my gosh. So sometime, some way, a bounty hunter will be upon us once again when the story is right. Oh my gosh. Oh, lordy, look who's 40. All right, so we come to the orbital facility around Scorch, and let's just get some information about that. All right, so the Scorch orbital settlement it's orbital. We already know that. What is the population of this place? I'm going to call it as Terminus because I feel like this is going to be more likely to have a lot more people than the others. In fact, if I roll on few, I'll just re-roll because I feel like it needs to have more people. I roll on few straight away. All right, let's re-roll. 27. Okay, hundreds. All right, there's hundreds of people here. That's fine. I'll take that. It makes sense to have hundreds of people in an orbital settlement anyway. And what kind of architecture are we talking about here? What's our first look at this station? 641. Neon lights and attention-grabbing signs. Oh. So as we're flying up to the orbital station, we see like there's little, not billboards, so to speak, but huge signs flashing in neon lights telling all these different landing areas in this huge orbital, pretty good sized orbital station. All these different landing pads have these huge signs, you know, this one for research, one for medical, one for this, one for that. All of them have a big, bright, flashing neon sign. And what is our initial contact with the settlement here? I should have just taken the same roll, but that's okay. 219, they are welcoming as well, okay. And what is the authority on this place? 62. Unyielding. Oh. So this must be the seat of their authority in this system. Okay. And what are they working on here? We know that they at least do medical, because we were told that they do. We'll say it's medical and energy. I don't have to roll every time. I'm going to say that they're doing energy and medical research or projects here. Okay. And what kind of trouble are they having, if any? Number 4, 38. Environmental change. All right, that makes sense. This is a furnace world, and it's constantly in eruption, and there's, you know, very volatile environment down there, and I guess it affects the energy output that they are able to receive as well. All right, and the name of the settlement, I could just call it Scorch. You know, yeah, we'll just call it the Scorch Orbital Settlement. You know, there's no settlement on the planet, so we'll just call the orbital planet Scorch, and the station is named Scorch as well. All right, so we know that there are several zones here in this settlement, and we're going to start where? Where are we going to start first? We're going to land at a community zone, okay? So we're just going to come to the first landing that we see here, 30, a gym or fitness. Cade sees this gym light. What's the name of this gym or fitness place? Restore Truth. It's the name of this fitness place. That's what it says on the landing pad neon sign. It says Restore Truth, and it's like flashing red and white, you know. And Cade's like, "Oh, that sounds pretty good." So he comes in for a landing on this Restore Truth landing pad, and whenever we come out of the drop ship, we see that this is a gym or fitness area. And Kate's like, well, I don't think this is where we were supposed to be. And Dev's like, well, that's okay. We'll just make our way to try to find this Kayette Lowry. All right, so we're gonna find Kayette Lowry. So they go up to a terminal here in this gym or fitness area. And what is one of the features we see here? 92. Descriptor focus. 65. Misleading reality. Okay. Misleading reality. So whenever they walk up to the terminals on the landing pad of this place, they have to watch this little ad first, and it shows this really overweight individual working out on machines, and then like miraculously they shrink like in only 90 days, and it shows the before and after picture, and they are like really overweight, morbidly obese to like super athletic fit. In 90 days only, you can see the same results. Love it. All right, so we are going to try to find a terminal. All right, so we have our terminal here, and let's see what we got here. Welcome to the Restore Truth Gym and Fitness. Welcome to the station. Esteemed visitor, please take a moment to familiarize yourself with the company rule of conduct, patent pending. Let's enter the terminal. Now let's take a look at the station crew here. All right, so, Kayette Lowry. All right, so there is a Kayette Lowry on this station. And can I find any information about them? Apparently not. Okay. All right, well, that's worthless. So I guess we're going to have to just go ask around to see if we can find out where this Kayette Lowry is. So we start walking around here in the gym and fitness, and there's a little access tunnel thing here. That takes you to like a transport tube. And so we go into the transport tube, and the next zone is what? So we hop into the transport tube, it shoots out into the tube using pneumatic devices and goes to a production area. All right, and what kind of production are we doing here? Looks like some sort of infrastructure complex. All right. And when we walk out into the infrastructure complex, there's tons of cargo lifts all around. So it's moving cargo in and out. There's a docking bay here that ships can come in, land, and these little cargo lifts are right next to the landing pad, and then they can unload the ships directly onto these lifts, and then the lifts take things around to the rest of the station. So this actually might be the ideal place to find this Kayette person. So we start looking around and start asking a few people, and finally we find someone who points us in the direction of Kayette. And so we walk into one of the many cargo offices. There's like scattered all around this area. People are in there busily typing away on their terminals. And we walk into the one that was pointed out to us, and we see an individual sitting at a terminal, busily keying in some entries. And we're just going to roll just a few different stats about Kayette here. Not going to get into too much detail because they're going to be a minor character. We've got to know what we're dealing with, don't we? Uniformed, okay. So they are in an official university uniform, which is good. All right. Their disposition is exploitive. Okay. So they may try to get us to do something for them as well. And what kind of person are they? Roll twice, it says. Okay. 44. They're a laborer. Okay. All right. That's good. A couple more things we need to know. What's their goal? Number 144. They want to obtain an object. Oh. And they are hard-hearted. Ooh. So they must have experienced something bad in their life to harden their heart. Okay, so we go and strike up a conversation with this Kayet Lowry. Devin introduces both himself and Cade, and they start talking about Izella Shin and how he was needing some supplies sent down to Helios settlement. And whenever he mentions that, Kayet, like a light goes off in Kayet's eyes, and he's like, "Oh, okay, of course, of course, yeah, the next shipment." And so, without too much ado, he starts typing diligently into the computer, and he asks what landing pad we're on, and we tell him we're at the Restore Truth fitness landing pad, and he kind of looks a little bit confused. He's like, just landed on the first one you came to, eh? And they're like, yeah. He kind of gives a little laugh of a laugh of disinterest, and he's like, okay, well, the cargo is on its way to that landing pad there. If you want to jump back into the lift, you can go back to your ship, and it will be waiting next to your ship there. There's some pallet jacks in the area that you can utilize to go ahead and load that cargo up onto your ship, and you will be all set on your way. And so we thank Kayet, and he gives a non-committal wave, and then we head on back to our ship. And of course, just as he said, there are several crates of supplies there. We take a few minutes to load those onto the ship, and then we make our way back to orbit. And what do we encounter there? Orbital travel. Number 5, planetary scan. Oh, we already know what's on the planet here. So instead of planetary scan, we will say that, when we arrive, well, I was going to say maybe the bounty hunter caught up with us already, but there's no way they could get here that fast. So, well, maybe Hasmos has people in every sector looking for us already, because we've been away for a while. So maybe they anticipated that we might have traveled here already and had bounty hunters already dispatched to all the different sectors. Yeah, let's say that. And so when we leave the station, we receive a hail, and a harsh voice comes over the radio and says,
Devin Valentine, Cade Zachary, you are under arrest on the authority of Hasmos Corporation. Turn off the power to your ship and prepare to be boarded.
and so now we have to make a decision. Do we try to escape, or do they board us and it possibly will go awry? What kind of ship are we dealing with here? All right, let's see what kind of ship we're dealing with. That'll determine what our response is. It is number 5, stay alive. Number 550, a shipwright. Oh, interesting. So it's like a shipbuilding ship. Oh, okay. So presumably a pretty big ship. We know they are hostile. Anything unusual about this ship? On first look, 446. Fluid design, so it's a very sleek hull. Very sleek. And we know that they are on a mission to capture us. Well, maybe not the ship itself. What's the ship's mission? We just know the bounty hunter's on this ship. May not even be his ship. 446. Search and destroy. Okay, well, maybe it is his ship. He's on a mission to search and destroy. Okay. And then what is the name of the ship? Knight's Helm. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so now we have these supplies on board. We have no idea what they are. That doesn't really matter because now we are being accosted by someone who is stationed in this sector and responded to the transponder that Bookworm reinitiated when we initially came to Scorch. And so now we're going to have to try to make evasive maneuvers. How close are they right now? We're going to roll a d4. 1 is adjacent, 2 is short range, 3 is long range, and 4 is basically out of range, like only in communications range. So let's see where they are at. Okay, good. So they're very far away from us. And so we're going to make a pilot check with Cade to take evasive maneuvers and try to make our way down to the planet's surface we're in the orbit of Scorch. We could just go ahead and try to land on Scorch, but Scorch is not a nice place. It does have a marginal atmospheres, so we could possibly land here and hide out. It's a very dangerous place, though. Let's roll, and let's let the dice determine where we go. Okay, so we're gonna make a pilot check with Cade, and if we succeed, we're gonna fly to Hope 5 and the Helios settlement, and we'll just land. Let them unload the cargo, and we'll get out of there. Basically, we'll go hide somewhere. If we fail this check, we'll say that the shipwright ship makes it to long range, at which point they can probably fire weapons. Okay, and then we'll have to make a decision from there. All right, so we're going to make our check then. We're going to make our pilot check. So let's do a pilot check. We're going to do speed and piloting. And we're going to roll our check. A 41, that's a success. Fantastic. All right, so Cade puts a pedal to the metal, so to speak, in the dropship, and we zoom away from Scorch and make our way down to Hope 5. And we hear over the comms as we zip away, the bounty hunter broadcasts out.
Be aware, since you have fled, we have been given authority to terminate your existence. We will unfortunately get fewer credits for this, so know that we are going to try to take you alive. It is best for you and for us if you surrender. But know that since you're trying to escape, it will make it that much harder for us to accept taking you alive. If we catch you, we will be, or I should say, when we catch you, we will be less than kind.
Cade and Devin look at each other, and they fly on down and land successfully onto the landing pad at Helios. And Zella just comes out. He's just jovial, he comes out, he's got a big smile on his face. He's like, "Oh, you're back already. Fantastic. I see you didn't have too much trouble getting in contact with Kay yet." No, we don't have time to talk right now. We're going to leave our ship here. Is there somewhere we can hide? And he starts looking really concerned. He's like, "You didn't bring trouble with you, did you?" And Devin and Cade's like, "Well, yeah, maybe." And he says some very choice words. And he's like, "We're not going to get involved in your dispute. I should have known better than trust you two boys." And he starts saying some more choice words, and he hollers for a few of his fellow workers to go start unloading the ship. And so they unload it very quickly. And Devin's like, "Is there anywhere else on the planet we can go to hide?" And he just kind of shakes his head. He's like, we just started mapping this planet out. There's lots of places you could probably land in the grasslands without having too much trouble, but I'm just giving you a warning. There's lots of different life forms out there. Not all of them are friendly. And so Devin says, well, we'll take our chances. And he and Cade help them finish unloading the ship. And before they leave, Azella hands a small data pad to Devin. He's like, don't forget this. And he's like, in exchange for you doing that job for us, here's the information you'll need to get your contact back on Scorch if you're able to do so. And Devin thanks him kindly, and they close up the ship and take off once again, looking for a place to hide. That's going to be it for this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. It's a little bit of a slow burn this episode, but I had a lot of fun with all the world building exercises as part of this episode, and I hope you did as well. A little light on the story, and I apologize for that. Sometimes that's how it goes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure and hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And I will see you guys next time.